Hello and welcome back to my GTNH playthrough. It is January 2nd, 2026, so first video of the year, and I don't know if it's gonna be something a little different. I'm gonna try a little bit of a different format. I kind of prepared a little more for this video than I normally do, gathered some screenshots and stuff, because yesterday I didn't play at all. I knew I wasn't gonna have a video yesterday. I had planned on playing, and then I was like, hey, I'll leave the server running because just kind of friendly reminder where we were. I am currently wanting to craft the compact 3 reactor so we can finally get nitinol and start moving again, because it feels like I've been spinning my wheels a few weeks. But to do this, that's weird. Sorry, get a little sidetracked. Why is that not working? 4.5 million device online. Interesting. Things to be investigated later, I guess. So the coolant one shouldn't be a problem, but we are short 7,000 Nequata, and then on top of that, to actually craft it, we need 560 of this block, which, if I try to request it, we'll see we're missing 20,000 or so osmium, and then nearly 100,000 ruthenium. So my plan was just to leave the world running and let it build up a bit. But I apparently didn't start the server yesterday. It's really weird. I remember doing it, but it didn't happen. But either way, don't have the resources to do it right now, so that stuff needs to be sped up and looked at, and probably I'm imagining a lot of mega LCRs in my future, but that's where we left off. The other part where we left off was I did get this guy crafted, set up, and fireable. It does work. And now the thing I did today was actually get it automated, or at least on the network where I can request wafers. We can even look in here to see that I have 20,000 because I was playing around with this. And yeah, so let's just kind of get into how I got this to work. The basic idea is, like any multi-block, I did go the route of using interfaces, putting it on a subnet. In this case, the white network, like usual for me, is my main network. This purple I went with is the sub network. If we're looking at the side of the machine, don't worry about this red one. This red one's literally just the power network, power sub network, so it's not having any like impact on what we're talking about. It's just, if you're seeing that cable, that's what it's there for. I also do the most efficient routing, because originally I had all these on everything that I'm going to point out on the main network. But similar to like any other multi-block thing, like if you're doing like a dual subnet, I just have the two interfaces. In this case, there's no fluid input, so they are just regular interfaces. And then there's 3 inputs we have to worry about for our patterns, which I'm going over these now because I'm going to show them on the board. We need up in this guy. So this is the target chamber, the final part of the chain here. This input bus takes our wafers, and I just threw all the wafers on here. Realistically, I probably would only ever, I think on this specific linear accelerator, I'll probably only ever have Americanium or up, but I just put them in there. It's no big deal. For the moment, the only 2 patterns I have in here are Nano Power IC and PPIC, which are the red one and the orange one, these guys down here. And then the other input is all the way down here at the source chamber, which all I have right now is lithium, hexaboride rods, because those are what are needed for this. Yeah, let me check the calculator real quick just to confirm. Yeah, if you were to use tungsten, which is like the next tier below this, the lithium rods, the calculator shows that it does not work anymore. But then obviously I had to make my patterns. Now we look at my patterns in here, we've got 6,400 and 8,960, which are huge. And if we really break them down, we see 1 mask, 50 wafers, and then 118 rods. And then in this case, 1 mask, 70 wafers, and 112 rods. So how did I come up with these? So I'm going to try to do this as like Beamline for dummies, because that's the way I treated it. if you go to the wiki page, there are tons and tons of what's it called? Formulas. Let's see. I don't have the actual wiki up right now. Beamline wiki. If we go over to the uses, they've got equations for the linear accelerator, the synchrotron, the target chamber. They've got charts and stuff, all that. We're basically going to ignore all that for the moment. It's probably better for me here in the future to spend a little bit of time in making sure I'm following everything that's going on the equations, what all the inputs are, and just because if I end up like mass producing these to get like a specific type of wafer and not just trying to hit a general range of things, I will probably want to hone it in a little more. But at the same time, I'm also not too worried about resources, so it might not be something I ever really revisit again. We'll just kind of see how the playthrough goes. But so what is important though is on that wiki page, if you go over, you can hop into the Google Doc for it. And then if you've never used Google Docs before, save yourself a copy and that'll let you start editing it. And now when you're in the Beamline calculator Google Doc, on the right side, there's configuration storage. Some console, I assume it says author ruling. So I don't know if that's a Discord for whoever it was. This console has gone through and given us 5 groups that would make it so we could craft every type of wafer in the game, just using these different setups. We've got group 1 through 5. Now in our case, we're going to focus on group 2 because I wanted to use the configuration that would get us the NPIC and the PPIC. So now we take that information from the group 2 configuration and put it over in the Beamline configuration on the left. And then once we have that, so we'll put the lithium boride, the source chamber voltage ZPM, the length 45, supercoolant, UHV voltage for the linear accelerator, supercoolant again for the synchrotron, UV and 2 amps. And then I did have the attendant in this thing at 2. And finally, the wafer type I'm using is American. So when we do all of that, you'll see that NPIC and PPIC are both green. The only thing that I am worried about taking off of this whole sheet is the time. So if we look over here, you'll see, I'm going to kind of go back and forth. We go NPIC time 1.55 seconds, PPIC time 2.35 seconds. So that's this first column here is time. Now, the next thing we got to worry about is mask uses. So that's going to be, if we come into here, the PPIC, NPIC, just right click, or not right click, left click, go to target chamber, make sure you're on Americanium wafer. Actually, sorry, we don't even need that. So we're just going to click on this. It doesn't even matter what wafer we're on right now. We go PPIC, max uses 50, NPIC, hover over the max uses 70. So that's what these two numbers are here, the 70 and the 50. All you do is you multiply these two together, we get 108.5, 118.5, or 117.5. So this will be rounded up the number of lanthanum rods we'll use. I will say, for whatever reason, this one works at 118. When I run this one at 109 rods, it leaves me with a 0% wafer. So I don't really care about wasting extra resources. So all I did, it doesn't hurt anything, but I bumped this guy up by like 3. I made this 112, so it's guaranteed to finish it, and we're maybe wasting 1 rod or 1 or 2 rods a run through, but that is fine. So then the next thing we're worried about is the other number I was talking about. So if we go into the target chamber again, we swap this over to Americanium. We get Americanium with the mask, 128, and then exact same thing here. It's going to be 128 with that mask. So this is where we get this 128 here, which gives us our resulting wafers. So all this is 70 times 128, 8,960. 50 times 128, 6,400. So with these numbers, we can do everything we need to for these patterns. So again, taking one look over here again, where we got 109 for the NPIC, 109 second or number of lithium rods, which is this times this. And then we need 100 or 8,000. It comes to 8,960 wafers. So when we go over to this pattern, NPIC, open it up for one mask. It has 70 uses, takes 109 seconds. Again, round it a little bit up because it wasn't quite working right. But so it went from 109 to 112, and the result 8960. And then same thing for over here, 50 wafers because 50 uses on that mask, takes 118 or 17.5 seconds, rounded up. This one does work without rounding for me. I'm not sure why the rounding thing happened. There's probably something real silly that's just like making the energy value and the stuff we're not worried about in that equation tick over a little bit, but like that, I'm not too worried about using the extra rods. And you can see I was playing around with this because even like the NPIC wafers, I've got 26,000 now. This is so fast because I mean, if you think about it, like these two guys, essentially what they were doing before taking us to craft was this 117 seconds. We wouldn't even have finished crafting our second one yet because they were 1 per second before. So now in 2 minutes, we make 6,400. And then same thing up here, you know, we'd get like, we'd have 3 by this point. Now we get nearly 9,000 in the same amount of time. So this Beamline's crazy. It's worth it. And it's probably, I think my computer ran out of hard drive space there on the drive I record. So at least I got through the explanation, but that's okay. I kind of went into a rant about, I want to say a ramble about how much I like the way this multi-block looks, which is pretty sweet. I'm really happy with how everything kind of turned out here. So now for this block specifically, at some point when I need way more crystal SOCs, I'll go about adding the extra patterns here. I will say at the moment, I actually can't. So this particular configuration, again, if we look at the Beamline calculator, how we can only use, we're using group 2, which also makes the crystal CPUs and the crystal SOCs, which we're going to type those in over here, like crystal SOC. This mask. The thing is we can't actually make these right now because we need grade 6 water, which is on the list of things to do. And then at the same time, you know, we go 1 to 4. So this is a good ratio. And 100 so we'd get 400 for every, I don't even know how long this would take. I assume actually we can tell crystal SOC 0.6 seconds. So we're going to throw that in the calculator. 0.6 times 100 uses. We would be in 60 seconds, we'd get 400 every 60 seconds on that. And I believe the same for this guy. Well, crystal. So sorry, the red one is 0.8 seconds. So we get 400 of the green ones every minute. And then of the red ones, it would be 0.8 times 100, which gives us, so it'd be 80 seconds for 400 on that one. But the thing is, like I said, we need grade 6 water, which we don't have soon. That'll be one of the goals for next week. And also, one of the mass processing buildings I have over there, I set up a passive line for crystal SOC. So while technically it's less efficient, I have 65K just sitting there. So if anything, I might be, once I get grade 6 water up, I might just make this one for now and then leave this as a passive. Or maybe I'll do a combination of the both. So that way, if the passive isn't keeping up for some reason, I just use the more efficient. We'll see. This is just being made off of, like essentially emerald and europum. So it might be good to get this off of here. I don't, Let's see. So we need grade 6 water, and then what's used to make this? We need this etched mass, some lithium hydroxide. That's fine. Epoxid's fine. Prophone radioactive ion etching mixture, which is from oxygen and chloroform. And okay. So it might be worth it in at the same time to not be relying on your album to have this stuff run passively. So that's a thought for another time. So yeah, that is the Beamline and Beamline for Dummies. I hope the explanation was clear. Again, as I always say, if you ever have any questions about anything I've said here or where I got any of these numbers or I could have laid it out a little better, just let me know. I don't know. It's just I know these are normally just like daily videos, but I'd also like to explain and even for my own reference in the future of how I came up with or what numbers I use to get certain things. So, yeah, we'll leave that for the moment. As for anything else I've got going on for the weekend and what have you, the only thing I did do after recording the video on what was it called on Wednesday before I went off to do New Year's Eve plans and stuff, was I did set up this building. There's nothing in here. It's a complete shell, as well as like some cosmetic paths just to kind of flesh out the world a little bit. I do plan on moving where I launch my rockets from down here to over here, just so that every time I launch a rocket, I'm not making sand. Looks ugly. But this building is going to be for Nequata fuel, which is one of the things that we'll be tackling going into next week. I'd like to get that going so I'm not just relying on the plasma fuels because, while good, they are a little frustrating to expand. And I think, one, we need as far as I'm aware, we need the byproducts of doing this anyways. So we might as well get it set up so we can start pushing some power harder and not have to worry about any power fails. And yeah, that was basically it because, like I said, I didn't play it all yesterday. My goal for the rest of the day will basically be kind of looking into what I need to set up here. I know I need a fusion reactor, so I did craft up everything for another Mark III. I can also see my casings. I have 100 or 1700 here, or nearly 1800. So I do have the casings and everything for the compact fusion. It's just I'll also be working on shoring up all my passive lines over in the west tower here just to get more Nequata, osmium, ruthenium, and make it so we can finally craft that compact Mark III, get it and all, and start moving onwards. But yeah, I hope everybody had a fun New Year's, and I hope everybody has a good weekend. I will see you Monday. Goodbye.